No. Did he go?
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back.
We're back again.
Yep, at a different
I was
location.
going to say, in a completely different location, but still not our house.
We're mooching internet from another good friend this
Yes.
evening. AT&T assures us it'll just be another week or two before we have our internet. So it keeps that's the answer every time. So it's been a couple of months now.
Yep.
But we're still excited. We're holding our breath for our internet so we don't have to leave home to join you for Monday
Night.
Live.
Yes.
Yeah. Where are you watching from right now? Where in the world are you? What city, what state, what country? Tell us in the comments so we can say howdy. Y'all know what howdy means, don't you? Surely you do. John Wayne movies and all that. Yeah. Is this going or no?
No, I don't know what's happening out there. Ken thought he wanted to go live on Instagram tonight too, but I don't think it's going to work.
What's it doing?
It's not doing anything.
Okay. Well, it was worth a shot. I was trying to share with everyone I could.
I don't know what's happening.
Turn it off. Oh, well. Anyway.
We got Louisiana,
All right.
Virginia,
All right.
Huntsville.
Everybody remind your mama and your granny and your aunt that we're live right now. You know they always forget. Send them a text message or a WhatsApp and say, hey, granny, they're live right now.
Roanoke.
Roanoke, Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Massachusetts, Tallahassee, Brisbane, Australia.
Is it Brisbane or Brisbane?
I don't know.
I don't either.
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Hey. All right, so ask your questions, and we will do our best to answer as many as possible. Of course, we cannot answer them all.
That's right.
We wish we could.
We're going to try to answer every question we can in the next hour to help all of us rediscover what is a proper human diet and to help you personally reclaim your health or to continue to reclaim if you've already gotten started. As always, you're welcome to share this video. If you know someone you think it would really help, you can share it on your social media, anywhere you want to share it. We appreciate it when you do that. It helps us to help more people.
Meg, if you're on YouTube, smash the thumb. If you're on Facebook, smash a thumb, a heart, a smiley face.
Yep. But not a frowny. No frownies.
Wow.
I mean,
be honest.
Be honest. That's true. Honest review. That's true. Any questions tonight? Any comments, any questions? If you would like to share your regeneration of your health story in the comments, you're welcome to do that. A lot of people go through and read these comments looking for people with stories similar to theirs. And so if you'd like to share your story in the comments, we welcome that. Some people frown on that. I don't know why. I love it when you guys do that because it could help so many people understand just how powerful eating a proper human diet and living a proper human life is.
All right. Hi from Mexico. Can mineral water cause kidney damage? I drink more than 32 ounces a day because I love it.
I don't think so. I've never seen any research that intimated that mineral water would cause any kind of kidney damage. Has anybody else heard anything about that? Is there a news article that I need to debunk? Because I will if I need to.
GT wants to know, does keto help with ovarian cysts?
Oh, 100%. Ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids, PCOS, even dysmenorrhea. Thousands of women have told us when I started ketovore, that just got better. And I'm not saying that this way of eating cures those things. I'm just saying it's going to improve your symptoms to the point where you're not suffering anymore. And that's what we all really want anyway, right? Is to just be able to live our life and not suffer.
Carmen says, good morning.
Hey, Carmen.
Watching from Japan.
I love it.
Wow.
Let's do a keto conference in Japan. Set it up. We'll be there.
Right. All right. Let's see here. Is turkey bacon? Well,
that is a very good question.
Well,
bacon purists would say that it is absolutely not bacon, but turkey bacon is an option. I don't think they have pork belly. Like they don't have a fatty belly
it's a very
strip.
lean cut.
Yeah.
And
I think they have to mess with it chemically to make it look like bacon.
It's just processed.
Yeah, it's probably a little overly processed. Now, pork bacon obviously is the platinum level bacon, but beef bacon, if you haven't tried that, OMG, you need to find a butcher and have them cut you some beef bacon. It is divine.
Mariana says, I had a jejunostomy
Mm-hmm.
on April 5th due to esophageal ulcers. A lot of meat aversions. Could use some advice.
Yeah, you're just going to have to wait. I don't know if you still have your tube or not, but you're going to have to wait for your esophagus to heal, and then wait for the ostomy site to heal, and then hopefully the meat aversions will go away. Anytime your gastrointestinal system has been compromised like that, then you may be temporarily unable to eat a proper human diet, which is full of fatty meat, plus or minus a little veg. But eventually, once you've healed up, you're still a human being, and you will be able to eat a proper human diet.
Lainey says, are keto chow shakes a good way to start keto? Any evidence for keto and fibroids?
Yeah, and like I said earlier, fibroids is one of the many things that is directly linked to chronic hyperinsulinemia. There's quite a bit of research showing that either insulin resistance or hyperinsulinemia, either way you want to look at it, is very intimately related to how fast your fibroids grow. And many women have noticed that when they really lower the carbohydrates and eat lots of fatty meat, plus or minus some veg, their fibroids stop getting bigger. They stop having the irregular bleeding, their symptoms, their pain, the discomfort gets better. Now, do they still have a tiny fibroid? Maybe, but they're not suffering anymore. Okay. And then keto chow. What do you think about keto chow? Is that a good way to start keto?
I think it's not as tasty as bacon and eggs.
Yeah. we know the Bears, who are that's the family behind keto chow, and we love them. Okay. And we love their product in the right situation. But if you want to start a proper human diet, that needs to consist of eating real food, real meat, real fatty meat, real veg, real berries, real foods with just one ingredient. Okay. If you need an occasional shake to take with you because you don't have time to eat a meal, keto chow is the way to go. But on the daily, on the average, you need to be eating real food because that's what human beings are supposed to do.
Ted says, do you know of anything that will help minimize the symptoms of neuropathy or actually put those nerve endings back together?
Yeah. So one of the most common things that people with peripheral neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, and other neuropathies notice is when they drastically cut the carbohydrate intake out of their diet and start eating more fatty meat, that their neuropathy symptoms get much, much less severe. Some within a few weeks, some it takes a few months. It's actually been documented that the C fibers, they're unmyelinated, little short fibers, small fibers in your skin. When you eat a high carb diet and keep your insulin chronically high, you can literally see them die back on skin biopsy. You can see where they've just shriveled and died. And then when you return to a proper human diet, they can actually regrow and put out new fingers and get back into the tissue like they're supposed to be. Thousands of people, if anybody used to suffer from neuropathy, diabetic or otherwise, and keto or carnivore has made it at least 90% less severe, put your story in the comments. This is one of those key places where your story, when this person reads your story, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to try it if it works that good. There's no big food manufacturer that's interested in telling you that this works. There's no pharmaceutical corporation who's interested in telling you this stuff. So we have to tell each other, we have to help each other, and we have to teach each other. So put your story in the comments if you've reversed neuropathy with a proper human diet.
Xavier says, is Crystal Light okay on carnivore?
Crystal Light is probably not okay. I know it's tasty. I used to love their lemonade, but even the sugar-free kind is it's just so sweet.
It's got a bad sweetener in it.
Yeah, it's got a sweetener that you really don't want, and it tastes so sweet that I worry about it raising your insulin, even if it's sugar-free.
Really, on carnivore, you're not supposed to drink that type of stuff. It's to see optimal results.
Yeah. Sparkling water. I went by Sonic and got my soda water with lime in it, and that's what I'm going to drink. I love Crystal Light, but you know what I love better? Being really healthy and feeling really great.
Alicia says, does a carnivore diet cause problems with bile acid malabsorption?
No, because for the last 2 to 3 million years, humans have been super carnivores. We had over 70% of the energy we got from our diet for all those millennia came 70% of the time from fatty meat, from meat. Okay. Meat is an ancestral food for human beings. Eating an ancestral food that your body is built to eat is never going to cause any kind of malabsorption or imbalance or anything like that. That would be like saying, oh, if you breathe too much air, you could cause an imbalance, or if you drink too much water. No, come on. If you eat until you're full and you're eating a proper human diet food, that's exactly what your body is made to eat, made to digest. That's what your body's looking for. It's got all the nutrition you need. No.
April says, I've been carnivore for 6 months and I've lost nothing. I'm thinking about trying PSMF. What's your opinion?
So 6 months that's quite a while to not have lost any weight. And I understand your frustration. I really do. On my weight loss journey from 297 to currently about 225, my weight loss has stalled multiple times along the way, sometimes staying stalled there for a year before it would pick up and start to lose again. You see, your body doesn't know how much you weigh. Your body doesn't know if you're overweight or not. All it knows is that in the wild, where we evolved, losing weight is always a bad thing. That's dangerous. That's bad. It's unhealthy. That must mean there's a famine, because there was no obesity back when we were evolving, right? And so when you're losing weight, it freaks your body out. And very often your weight loss will just stop. It'll take a pause, and it can last for many months. That doesn't mean you're not getting healthier. It just means the scale's not moving. A lot of people, when they start the carnivore diet, they'll actually gain weight as their body's healing. Then they'll start the weight loss later, assuming that they have weight to lose. Anything?
Yeah, Kelly Hogan, she gained weight. I think Steak and Butter Gal, she gained weight in the beginning. It's almost like your body has to process things for a while, and I understand it's frustrating, but if it's to the point where it's causing you mental anguish to not lose any weight, then maybe give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
But being patient with your body, it didn't get sick in 6 months. Right. And it's not going to heal in 6 months too, especially if you're older and you're maybe perimenopausal or menopausal. There's lots of things that come into play that, there's no cheat code to wellness. There may be a cheat code to losing fat, but that's not equivalent to health.
Getting healthier overall. Yeah. It took you decades to get where you're at. And I'm not saying you're complaining, but just saying, well, gosh, it's been 6 months. I haven't lost any weight. I understand, but it took you decades to get there. It may take a few more months before your body's healed enough that it's comfortable to start letting you burn fat.
And also make sure you're measuring inches and not just going by the scale, because those are two different stories, and the scale is not really an optimum indicator of fat loss, because your body composition can change while the scale stays the same.
Yeah. Many people, when they're eating a carnivore diet, they're putting on muscle. Their bone density is getting better. Their bones are getting more dense and stronger. That stuff, that weighs too, right? That weighs pounds on the scale, or kilograms. And so a lot of people, when they take their measurements, they're like, oh my God, I've lost 18 inches, but the scale hasn't moved. And that happens all the time. So always get a tailor's tape and take your measurements. I don't mind if you weigh once a week or once a month, but the measurements are what's really going to tell the tale.
Also, Nurse Cindy has a great video on her weight loss stall that I think lasted at least a year,
over a year.
How she stayed consistent and gave her body time to heal, and then it started to lose again. And now she looks amazing. Like, giving her body that year paid off for her, but do what's best for you.
Exactly.
Chloe, doctor was super concerned because my total cholesterol was 240, LDL was 164, HDL was 72, my triglycerides were 100. He told me to stop keto after I've been strict clean keto for, what happened?
Where'd it go?
What happened? For 4 years.
So if your doctor still is talking about total cholesterol, that's a huge red flag that your doctor's at least 15 years behind on the literature reading. That's not very reassuring that they are up to speed on the latest and greatest. Your HDL cholesterol is beautiful. Your triglycerides are beautiful. No one even talks about total cholesterol anymore being high. Nobody cares about that. Now, if your doctor cares that your LDL cholesterol is high, there might be a tiny bit of research to support that. But the fact that you've returned your HDL and your triglycerides to normal, That's such a strong protector of your health, heart health, brain health, and otherwise, that an elevated LDL is probably minuscule in comparison. But yeah, I would really ask your doc, ask him who still talks about total cholesterol. Does the American Heart Association even talk about total cholesterol as a risk factor for heart disease? Because I don't think they do. And maybe it will encourage your doctor to get caught up on his or her reading.
Kyla says, my doctor ran every thyroid test, a hyperinsulin test, and my OBGYN did her own test. It's all normal and can't figure out why I'm stuck at 182 pounds.
Yeah, I wish you had put your numbers in the question. Very often what doctors call normal is not in fact optimal. And if you're going to try to lose weight, you have to have your numbers as close to optimal as you can. I would probably run those numbers by one of the low carb providers in your area. If you don't know who that is, I've got a YouTube video that tells you how to find them. Or there's several keto health coaches that you could run those numbers by and say, is this really normal? Because that's what my doctor said.
Lord says, my father was going to start keto carnivore for Parkinson's until we heard that red meat is not good for it. Is there any truth to this?
Yeah, there's zero truth to that. There's literally no research in the universe that even implies that eating red meat is somehow bad for people with Parkinson's disease. I would go back to the doctor that told you that and say, Doc, you said that red meat was bad for people with Parkinson's, right? And when they say yes, say, okay, I'm gonna pay you an extra office visit and let you have 20 whole minutes to yourself. I want you to go and print off the research that shows that, and then bring it back to me. And I'm going to sit here and wait while you do that, because there will be nothing that your doctor brings back. It's not true. There's no truth to that whatsoever.
Laura says, how rare can I cook my chicken liver?
Yeah, some people eat liver raw as long as it's fresh and you know the source and you know it was handled properly. A lot of people eat it raw. That's probably where the maximum nutrition is. Meat, unlike vegetables, the less you cook it, the more nutrition you get out of it. Whereas vegetables, some of them you have to cook them to even unlock the nutrition that's in them. Meat's not like that. Now, I'm not advocating everybody eat raw liver. I'm just saying. And so what I do when I cook chicken livers or any other kind of liver or any kind of meat, I cook it just enough that I know I've seared the outside. So if there were any bacteria, I kill the little buggers, and then I eat it. I eat it as lightly cooked as possible. But other people cook their chicken livers well done. They're still a superfood full of vitamins and minerals, even if you cook them done. But try to go 1 minute less than you think you should. It's going to be fine. No?
Raw chicken liver? I would do beef liver raw before I did chicken liver raw.
Yeah, me too.
It looks no. Yeah. Wife diagnosed with Graves, taking 180 of carbimazole and probable hidden gut infection is the root cause. She's doing carnivore for 2 weeks. Is this a good path?
Yes, definitely a proper human diet is mandatory for her. Hyperthyroid is a different animal than hypothyroid. She's got an overactive thyroid. That needs to be investigated thoroughly to make sure that there's not a tumor causing that. And that's your doctor, I'm sure, is well trained in how to figure that out. But you got to get to the bottom of what's causing the overactive thyroid. And then you got to either decide whether you're going to treat it or whether you're going to just eradicate the thyroid and then take thyroid replacement hormone for the rest of your life. There's several things you need to talk about with your doctor. But in the meantime, you absolutely need to be eating a proper human diet.
Eli? My wife has an autoimmune disease. She had blood tests that says she has high food sensitivity to eggs, dairy, lamb, and chicken. She is also allergic to seafood and soy. She believes she can't do carnivore because she's allergic to majority of carnivore food.
Food sensitivity testing, there's very little research to support that it means anything whatsoever. Okay. I don't recommend food sensitivity testing. Being allergic to all seafood, that also sounds very suspect to me. I'm sure she was told that and she believed that, but I doubt that's true in the real world. I would never rely on a food sensitivity test if it told me that I shouldn't eat something that is part of a proper human diet. That would be like saying, "Oh, you're allergic to water." Well, you got to have water to live, and you have to have food to live. So, what should she just eat Cheetos and English peas and that because that's what the food sense. No, of course not. And I'm being flippant, but I want you to understand that doesn't make any sense. It'd be like telling a tiger, "Oh, you're allergic to meat. You're going to have to eat crackers."
Well, I think maybe they're two different things. The food sensitivity, and then maybe she is actually allergic to seafood. That's kind of what it sounded like. But the food sensitivity, yeah, it's kind of. I had one done, and it told me I could eat as much rice as possible. And let me tell you, no, I can't. It inflames me terribly. So the food sensitivity test, like he said, meh.
Yeah.
But I mean, if she is allergic to seafood, that's only a small amount of carnivore. There's tons of options. There's lamb, duck.
Yeah.
There's so many options that people don't think about because most carnivores eat beef,
right,
and eggs.
We need to try some duck.
We have tried duck.
I want to try it again, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Duck is great because it's fattier than chicken. Most people with an autoimmune disease do better on fattier cuts of meat. So give her those options.
Keep trying.
You can find duck usually at the Asian markets, the Mexican groceries. They carry lots of really good meats there.
Yeah, go try checking out the Asian market and the Hispanic market. You will find cuts of meat that you didn't even know existed. Yeah. And that's awesome to try those new things. Some of them you'll hate, some of them you'll love, but at least you tried them.
Anonymous. Any tips for dealing with mental hunger? I've been keto for 3 years and I'm struggling to hit my weight loss goals because I just want to eat. Want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people suffer from this. And I wish that there were a magic pill for this or just a magic code word, but basically you grew up your entire life with food being used inappropriately, perhaps not even by you, maybe by your parents or your caregivers. Food was reward, food was love, food was all these things instead of nutrition. And that's really all food should be for us, just like any other animal. But for so many of us, including me, probably you too, I'm sure your grandmother showed love with food.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Especially my Puerto Rican grandma.
And when you grow up your entire life that way, you attach these false values to food, and it's really hard for some people can just separate that, and it doesn't bother them. Other people, it's really hard for them to separate the emotion from all that and just the nutrition.
Kelly Hogan has a hack, and I think someone else has it with chicken breast. So if you are you just want to eat, and you go to the refrigerator and you don't want to eat a plain chicken breast or a plain hamburger patty, then that's a cue to tell yourself you're not actually hungry. You just want to eat, and maybe that's some good feedback for you to be like, aha, close the refrigerator and go do something productive with your hands. Idle hands are devil's handiwork.
Yep, I love that. Yeah. Have chicken legs, have hamburger, have boiled eggs in the fridge. And if you're like, I'm hungry, I want to eat, that's what you get to pick from. And if you're like, I don't want any of those, then you're not truly hungry. That's the emotional part of your brain trying to trick you.
Fred says, what is the routine blood work that I should have my doctor tack and track?
Yeah, depends on your age, your gender, your other medical conditions. We've talked about this in several other videos. On most of my YouTube videos, when I'm talking about a particular condition, I'll tell you all the labs that you need for that particular condition. But the labs that I absolutely want you to get checked is a lipid panel. So you can look at your triglycerides and your HDL. I want you to check a hemoglobin A1C. I want you to check a C-peptide and a fasting insulin. Now, there's many other labs you probably need, but those are the key metabolic labs that are going to tell you, are you hyperinsulinemic? Are you pre-diabetic? And how are your triglycerides and HDL?
Jason says, my wife read Jack and the Beanstalk for her daughter, and when Jack took the cow to sell, she said, Mommy, why didn't they just eat the cow?
It's a smart young human right there. That's exactly right.
Well, better to eat the cow than get those stupid beans. That's for sure. That's
They were magic beans.
Yeah, but that magic turned out.
Well, he got a harp.
He got some gold.
Yeah.
Gold or beef?
I'll take the beef probably. How much gold?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah. Take the cow to market and get some Bitcoin.
Wendy says, can you eat carnivore if you have familial cholesterolemia?
100% yes. And if you'd like, I know with FH, your doctor has probably scared the crap out of you about eating any kind of saturated fat or cholesterol. Follow and listen to Dave Feldman at thecholesterolcode.com, and Dr. David Diamond, who's a PhD researcher at the University of South Florida. These guys have really, especially Dr. David Diamond, he's looked into familial hypercholesterolemia extensively. And basically, all the stuff your doctor told you is probably incorrect.
Autopia says, Doc, do you have a publication on a keto or carnivore diet? My A1C was 7, now is 6. I want to lose 80 pounds. Please help how to start.
Well, you're already off to a good start.
He has an entire playlist on his YouTube channel that's Keto 101, and it has almost everything you need to know in there. So I would start there and just start watching those videos, and that's going to answer most of your questions.
Absolutely. You can just put that playlist on, and each video will play after the other, and you can go about your day. You don't have to sit and watch them because I'm going to look the same in every video. But what you want is the information that you can listen to while you're doing your chores.
Cindy, we've already touched on this, but this is a super chat, so we're inclined to talk about it again. Cindy is a female. She's 5'8" and she's 34. She weighs 170 pounds. Her ideal weight is 140. She's a carnivore. She started it in October of 2019. She says she's lost 0 inches and 0 pounds since starting. Have lots of fat around my belly. Do you think I should do protein sparing modified fast?
Yeah. So you've got 2 options. You can either add some extended fasting in with your carnivore, or you can do the protein sparing modified fast. I would also encourage you to go see your doctor and get all of your gender hormones checked and get a complete thyroid panel, a complete adrenal gland panel to make sure that there's not a medical reason why you're stuck and not losing weight. But yeah, either extended fasting or protein sparing modified fast would be excellent next steps. Another great next step would, instead of doing a protein sparing modified fast, just switch from doing high fat, moderate protein to doing high protein, moderate fat. But in either case, keep the carbohydrates very, very low. So that's 3 options. Look into each one and then decide which one sounds like something you could do and give it a shot and keep us updated on your progress.
Lindsay, I have no thyroid. I'm on meds. Is keto okay? I've been on keto 2 weeks. I've had heart palpitations, less stress tolerance, exhaustion, blood pressure elevated, never has been. I think I'm okay on my electrolytes. Your medications, maybe.
Yeah, it could be medications that it's time to revisit those and decrease in doses. Yeah. Also, you may not be okay on your electrolytes, and also you may not be getting enough salt in your diet. And if you're still falling prey to, I should just only eat lean meat, you got to get fattier cuts of meat. Your brain needs that fat.
Miss Donna says, how accurate is iodine patch test for iodine deficiency?
Not accurate at all. Not at all. Yeah. The only way to really check your iodine status is to do a 24-hour urine collection for iodine. That's really the only reliable way. A spot urine test is notoriously unreliable. The skin patch where you put a drop or 2 of iodine and see how long it takes to absorb is completely not useful at all. Yeah, that's not going to help.
All right. Where did that go? Okay. Carly says, will keto improve dental health? I have genetically weak enamel.
Yeah. So Dr. Stephen Lin, Lin, is a dentist. He's either in Australia or New Zealand, and he talks about this a lot. And there are a ton of low carb dentists out there who know that, gingivitis, periodontal disease, gum recession, cavities, and then weak enamel, all that stuff gets better when you're eating a proper human diet that's full of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids. Strengthening your enamel is going to take a few months, right? Because there's no blood supply that goes to your enamel. It has to diffuse through the dentin. But yeah, absolutely. How many people have improved their dental health? I used to have bleeding gums, gingivitis, receding gum lines, and eating keto or carnivore made your dental health better. Put your story in the comments right now to help this person out, because I mean, I'm not a dentist, but I'm just telling you, I've talked to many dentists who said, yeah, low carb is the absolute way to go. If you'd like to never have another cavity for the rest of your life, if you'd like for your child to never have to have a cavity filled, they need to get rid of all sugar, get rid of all the grains, and get rid of all the vegetable seed oils. And that's how you go through life with 1 to 0 cavities.
SW says, what type of diet would you recommend post-COVID hospitalization? I'm still recovering and I'm on oxygen.
Yeah, you need to eat a proper human diet. You need all that nutrition in order to heal. So whether it's a real whole one ingredient keto, ketovore, carnivore, you need to eat lots of real food that human beings have eaten for millions of years.
Miss Pamela says, my husband's doctor said to him today to lay off the red meat because it causes colon cancer. Please say this isn't true.
Yeah, this is dumb. Not your husband.
No.
Yeah, your husband's not dumb. Your doctor's not dumb, but your doctor is falling for the party line. There's actually a new study out that I'm going to be doing a YouTube video on that is based on, once again, it's based on food frequency questionnaires, which have been proven multiple times to not be reliable, to not be accurate. And so when the data that you use for your research study is not data, right? Data is supposed to be information that is real that you can use. But people guess on food frequency questionnaires. They make stuff up. This is proven. This is known. So that study that your doctor read the headline of but didn't read the whole study is based on food frequency questionnaires. Therefore, it's not reliable. It's epidemiology, and it doesn't prove anything. Human beings have been eating red meat ever since we've been on this planet, and we should always continue to do so. Red meat is good for you.
Mr. John, been keto for 10 months. My lab work showed my C-reactive protein levels were high, but I have no arthritis or infection. Could keto be causing this?
No, but you do have some inflammation or some infection somewhere in your body. Could be a hangnail, could be an infected toenail. It could be something in your nether regions that's flared up a little bit, but you've got some inflammation or infection somewhere. But eating a proper human diet doesn't cause inflammation unless you're eating a vegetable heavy keto and you're not allergic to some of the vegetables, but you're having a little inflammatory reaction to some of the vegetables. That happens in some of us.
Canna's fam. What foods are good for IBS and arthritis? My arthritis doctor says red meat, bad. Pork and poultry and seafood, good. What are your thoughts?
So your doctor said pork was good for IBS, but beef is bad.
And arthritis.
Why is beef always the bad guy? Why does it always have to be beef?
It's not always, and usually it is pork.
If a doctor's talking, it's usually beef and pork. I've got YouTube videos on both arthritis and irritable bowel, and it's not the red meat. It's not the beef. It's not the chicken. It's not the pork. That's not what's causing it. Those are actually the things that are going to help it be less severe. Go watch my YouTube videos about arthritis and IBS. Then you'll understand. And in the show notes under each video, I put the research that I based my video on, so you can actually go print that out and take it to your doctor and say, Doc, it doesn't say anything about beef in here. Where'd you get that from?
Thanks, Jenny Pie. Jesse says, other keto channels say go moderate protein because too much protein is going to spike your insulin. What do you think? I am down 12 pounds after 3 weeks of ketovore. Yeah,
it's not true at all. Our good friend, Professor Ben Bikman, he is a PhD level researcher, and all he does is insulin research. And when I first started keto, I believed that. I believed if you ate too much protein, it would cause gluconeogenesis and cause your blood sugar. It's not true. If you're eating a low carbohydrate diet, very, very low carb, you're going to have almost no insulin increase from eating protein. And you always want your protein to be married with the fat, like it comes naturally in an animal, right? If you eat a chicken breast, it needs to have the skin on it and the bone in it. That's how we're supposed to eat meat, okay? If you have a cut of beef, you leave the fat on that and you eat that. The fat and the protein together, that's the sweet spot for human health.
He's not saying gluconeogenesis isn't a thing. Like it happens.
That's right. It happens all the time.
Bad thing.
Yeah, it's happening right now to every single one of us.
Pull mechanism.
It's a pull. It's not a push. You can't eat enough protein to spike the gluconeogenesis.
Unless your body needs it at that moment. If your brain needs
your body decides.
You want that to happen.
You can't make your body just go full bore gluconeogenesis. It doesn't work that way.
All right. Jenny, total cholesterol 636, HDL 107, triglyceride 64, LDL 350. Should I be worried? I'm 5'4", 110 pounds, and I'm 42. Yeah,
you're very, very thin. I was going to say you're probably what's called a lean mass hyperresponder. You need to if you're on Twitter, look up Dave Feldman, Feldman. He has a website called thecholesterolcode.com. He is doing research about lean mass hyperresponders. I'm also one of those. Sounds like you are too. Probably what the research is going to show is that that's not dangerous at all, because your triglycerides are amazing and your HDL was over 100. Amazing numbers. But for some reason, leaner people on keto, sometimes, not all lean people, but some of us have super high total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. I'm one of those people.
Thank you, Laura, for the sticker. Bad carb, no donut says, have you heard of the croissant diet?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I've heard of the croissant diet. It is a calorie restriction diet. If I locked you in my barn and just gave you 3 croissants a day and that's all you got to eat, you would lose weight. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Calorie restriction works if you're locked in my barn. But if you're a free range human and you've got a fridge full of food and a pantry full of food, when you eat that high carbohydrate, you're going to be hungry again in 2 hours. And you're going to eat another croissant or a bagel or some other junk. Calorie restriction is not a viable long-term solution for people who fatten easily. People like me. We have to be satiated with fat and protein.
I'm confused. So you just eat croissants?
Yeah, there's one dude lost weight eating just nothing but Irish potatoes.
Well, yeah, there's like grapefruit diet, anything where you're eating one thing.
It doesn't matter what you could say. Hey, I'm eating the X diet. I'm eating the beet diet. I'm eating the whatever.
Calorie restrict.
Yeah, if you calorie restrict and you don't cheat, yes, you will definitely lose weight.
I'm not going to eat one croissant.
But you're gonna cheat because we're all human. We have needs for nutrition, which a croissant does not have all the nutrition a human being needs. So at some point, your hunger, your true physiological hunger, is going to override you, and you're going to clean out the fridge and shoot your diet in the head. Yeah.
Thanks, Annie. Guy says, curious on your thoughts on Dr. Naiman's PE plan. It's worked well for me, but I've read in some areas of the keto world that's not good for you. What are your thoughts?
Now, I don't think there's anything bad about the PE diet at all.
I think he's on to something.
Yeah, Ted Naiman's a good friend of ours. Basically, there's 2 ways to do keto. You can do high fat, moderate protein, very, very low carb. Or you can do high protein, moderate fat, very, very low carb. The PE diet is basically a high protein, moderate fat, very, very low carbohydrate diet. And I think for some of us, that's the way to go. We have better results like that.
And it's a little more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, that's the gist. Now,
I would be more likely to tell you to do that than do a PSMF, just because it seems more satiating and enjoyable.
And you're going to get your nutrition that you actually need. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love Ted Naiman. I think the PE diet's great. Some people are not going to enjoy it because the high protein for some of us is not as satiating as the fat. But the research, and Dr. Naiman's absolutely right. Some research shows that protein is more satiating than fat. But for me personally, I need a 1-to-1 ratio. That's where I do best.
I think that when it comes to like you're hitting a stall, any change is probably going to break a stall.
Yeah.
If you went back to eating if you did a carb up day, people have seen it break a stall. Does that mean it's optimum for you? No. But any kind of change, your body kind of wakes up again and is like, oh, we're doing something different. So if you're lowering your fat or you're increasing your protein or you're having a carb up day, which I'm not saying do a carb up day, I'm just saying people break stalls doing that because something about changing your macros wakes your body back up.
Yeah, basically the 3 options, if you've been stalled for months and months, is to raise your protein, lower your fat, keep the carbs super low, or raise your fat, lower your protein, keep the carbs super low, or do some extended fasting. That's 3 different options that you've got to choose from, or a 4th option, protein sparing modified fast. If you want to go down that road, you could try that. But any of those options are likely to unstall you and let the weight loss begin again.
I'm freezing.
Are you freezing? I'm sweaty. Like I would take my shirt off right now.
You're always running hot.
Yeah, I'm hot-blooded.
I didn't take my iodine today.
That's what it is.
Kareem, I use Ozempic to lose weight. I'm hypertensive. I'm also on Irbesartan.
Yep.
300. Obese and sedentary. I'm 40. I tried keto and lost 20 pounds in 4 months, and I have 30 more pounds to go.
Yep.
Back a year later because of lockdown.
Oh yeah, so you're back on it now, 100%. You're on the right track. Keep up with your blood pressure, keep up with your blood sugar, because as you keto on and continue to lose the weight, your blood sugar levels are going to be coming back to normal. Your insulin levels are going to be coming back to normal. And at some point, you're not going to need as much blood pressure medicine as you're taking right now. And you're not going to need the Ozempic at the current dose sometime in the future. It could be weeks, it could be months, but you are moving towards your best health by doing this way of eating, 100%.
Jennifer says, Nisha, I just got my J. Crow's iodine. I was wondering how to start it, transdermal or in glass of water. Drop to start, been carnivore for a month now. So I put mine in my coffee. If you don't drink coffee, the water's fine. I use 2 single drops, not a dropper full, just single drops. And that works for me.
Yeah, I don't think that enough of it is absorbed through your skin, through the stratum corneum. I just don't think you're going to absorb enough to be meaningful. You got to take it internally. Just like you get iodine from seafood, you don't rub the seafood on your skin. You have to actually eat the oysters and the clams and the crabs.
What to eat for bile secretion, Dr. Berry, an Indian fan from New Zealand.
Fatty meat. Eat your fatty meat, whether it's fatty seafood or fatty red meat or fatty poultry. Eat fatty meat. That's going to help strengthen your gallbladder wall. It's going to help your gallbladder excrete that bile and make fresh bile. Nothing is better for the gallbladder than eating fatty meat.
Josh says, is Yohimbe good for speeding up weight loss?
Yohimbe is one of those 1% solutions. And so eating a proper human diet is going to give you 80% of the benefits you're looking for. Adding Yohimbe, adding, any of these other supplements or herbs or spices might help 1%, but I wouldn't focus too much on that. I would focus all my time, my effort, and my money on eating real fatty, healthy, high protein, high fat foods. And then if you want to take Yohimbe, I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to hurt you, but it's probably not going to help enough to be worth the money.
Kathmandu says, can you suggest a reliable glucometer as a test? I have 5 different meters, a wide range of results among them all.
Yeah, so there's a 10 to 20% allowable variance for all glucometers. And so there is no glucometer on the earth that if you check your blood sugar and it's 83, and then you check it again immediately, it's not going to be 83. Okay, because first of all, your blood sugar changes minute to minute, right? So it may be 83 this minute, the next minute it's 86 or 79. So, and then also all of the glucometers are allowed to have a 10% variability, which means plus or minus 10 points. So there is no monitor out there that's going to give you the exact number. And even if it could, the number's changing constantly. So don't worry about that. Just pick a meter and go with it. Get a good one from the reputable company. Don't buy one in the back alley. But just use your glucometer, write the numbers down, and watch the trend, because that's really what matters.
Caitlin says, I'm a 23-year-old woman recently diagnosed with MS. I read that I need more sulfur to rebuild myelin. How do I get it on carnivore besides from eggs?
Yeah, first thing I want you to do is look up myelin sheath on Wikipedia and see what it's actually made out of. Okay, the myelin sheath is made of fat and cholesterol. Now, you definitely want a good source of sulfur in your diet. I totally agree with that. But so many people are trying to get the sulfur and they're just eating a plant-based diet because a lot of the leafy greens are very rich in sulfur. But if you're not eating enough fat and enough cholesterol for your brain to be able to build new myelin sheaths, you can forget it. Okay, you can eat all the sulfur in the world, and if you don't have the basic building blocks for myelin sheath and for neurons, you're not gonna win this battle. So yes, get a good sources of sulfur in your diet, but you gotta eat lots of good healthy fats as well.
Charles, hey, welcome back, Charles. Just got lab work done. Total cholesterol is 228, HDL 78, triglycerides 53,
nice,
LDL 136, HDL 150.
Nice.
My doc is worried.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm doing semi-low carb diet. Should I be worried?
No, those your HDL and triglycerides are splendiferous. Wonderful. Okay. I don't care if your total cholesterol is high. I don't think it's a risk factor for anything. Your LDL being elevated may be a tiny risk factor, but the biggest risk factor of all is having high triglycerides and low HDL. And you ain't got that. Okay. You're the exact opposite. So you have fixed your metabolic health. If you want to worry about your LDL and try to tweak and mess with it, I think that's fine. but that's not the big risk factor. The big risk factor is having high triglycerides and low HDL, and you fix those. Congratulations.
Miss, I hope I'm saying this right. Sharika? I'm 47, 5'8", lean, no health issues, 90% carnivore, 4 to 5 months, 2 meals a day. My big toe on both feet near the toenail are aching. Is this related to carnivore?
I don't know. I doubt it's related to your diet because you're eating a proper human diet. Is there any inflammation? Is it a specific part of your toe? Is it the inner or the outer fold of your nail? I'd need a little more information. Is it in the joint or is it out in the tip of your toe? Yeah. Also, what kind of pain? Is it a dull ache? Is it a burning pain? There's so many things that could be.
Best thing, go to a podiatrist.
Yeah.
And have it checked out.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. Or start with your family doctor and then go to a neurologist if you think it's neurological in origin. Yeah. But neurology or podiatry. Yeah.
It's probably not from carnivore.
Yeah.
Jason says, when I started keto, now I'm ketovore. I started each day with lemon juice and iodine and Redmond salt and apple cider vinegar. Do you still recommend a cocktail like this?
Yeah, I think that's fine. If you enjoy it, I mean, think of all the good stuff you're getting in that. And some people love the taste of apple cider vinegar. I like it okay, but she loves it. She could drink it out of the bottle. But yeah, I think we used to call that Ketorade, and I think that's a great way to start the morning. Don't put too many drops of lemon. Too many has some carbs.
Mommy does keto. Hey, girl. What do you think of doctors who say to limit protein, especially from red meat, if you have osteoporosis?
Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things that doctors say. Your bones they're not made of calcium. They're made of protein. That's what they are made of. They are a collagen protein matrix into which your body then puts calcium and other minerals. If you don't eat a good supply of protein, you're going to have osteoporosis. There's a new study out that shows that kids that they're fed I'm not even going to say they eat a vegan diet. They're force-fed a vegan diet by their parents who don't know better. They're 1.5 inches shorter than kids their age, and their bones are substantially more brittle than kids who eat meat. If you want your strongest bones, you have to have some kind of animal food in your diet.
Brian says, I started strict carnivore January 24th at 287. Currently, I'm 232. Take Mega Mag and Redmond's Relight daily.
Yes. Sorry.
My calves twitch all the time, and I'm having painful cramps while I'm sleeping.
Yeah, so up your magnesium, up your potassium. You may even need to make sure you're getting a good source of calcium, because all three of those, if they're low, can cause you to have those twitchy, crampy feelings. Now, with that, let me say one other thing. If you've recently started a new exercise regimen and you're doing a lot more exercise than you used to do, that can actually cause cramps in the night. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're low on any of the electrolytes or minerals, but it could be a mineral. And so Keto Chow makes a great mineral drop. That way you know you're getting them all. Or you can watch my YouTube videos about how to get each of those minerals in your diet.
Who watched me shoot the mineral drops straight over on Instagram the other day?
If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should. You never know what this girl is going to do.
10 out of 10 don't recommend doing that. But
on
they work
reels.
So fast, it's worth it, honestly, if you can do it.
Yeah.
Some people can't. Igor says, Konnichiwa, great job on that video debunking the study, Doc.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I actually had one of the co-authors of that study
Stop it.
Yell at me on Twitter. And then also she posted a big thing on Facebook too and kind of debunked my debunking. But if I had thought about it, I would post it in the show notes. But basically she's like, well, he said this and this, and we really couldn't help that. And so she would try to act like she was debunking me, but nothing she said. It's like everything I said about that video was factual. And I put a link to the study in the show notes. So if you don't believe me, you can go read the study. You can print it out. But and then a couple of other things she said, well, he's got a point on this, but we couldn't help that. Like there's only 12 people in the study, and the study only lasted for 3 weeks. But it was pretty funny when I was reading it. And I'm going to respond to her, and I'm going to be very collegial and respectful, and just say, hey, if you want to come on my channel and do a live, we can talk about this. Suspect she'll decline, but we'll see.
Annie says, can I use any seasonings or condiments on carnivore?
I think so.
It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
There are some purists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people with autoimmune conditions and mental health conditions, they need to just eat meat and water.
And
that's where their best health is. For most people, I think you can use some spices as long as you watch the ingredients and don't let them put some crap in there on you. We use all kinds of different, the Redmond salts. They've got like 30 different flavors. They're all delicious. Yeah. I use pepper. Pepper doesn't bother me. Some people, pepper bothers them. I think it's fine to use spices, but you'll have to make that decision for yourself.
My wife is 1.5 years carnivore. Integrative doc did a T3, T4, reverse T3, and recommended leothyronine.
Yeah.
Is it safe? Is it a lifetime thing? Is there an alternative?
Yeah, there's a couple of alternatives to it. I would seek out a doctor who is familiar with prescribing desiccated thyroid hormone, which is a naturally occurring thyroid hormone replacement. There's a website called, what is that website called? I haven't said that in a long time.
The lab?
Stop the Thyroid Madness. StopTheThyroidMadness.com. They have a list of doctors who understand the thyroid very well. Also, any low carb doctor that I talk about on my YouTube video about how to find a low carb doctor, they're going to understand the thyroid better than most primary care doctors. And they can also offer you other options besides just levothyroxine or lidothionine.
Guri says, I assume your wife cannot pronounce my name. Well,
she tried.
I'm working, doing the best I can. I was pre-diabetic, but you and Dr. Fung have changed my life. I have raised my carbs to 100 a day. I've been keto for a year. So I guess he's doing good.
Right, good. Just keep an eye on that hemoglobin A1C and on that C-peptide and fasting insulin. And if they start to elevate, then you know it's time to drop those carbs maybe down to 70 or maybe 50 or maybe even lower.
Stacy says, I've been keto for 1 month now, down 12 pounds. Nice. Blood sugar's been between 125 and 180 before and after meals. Is this normal?
It probably is normal for you at this point in your journey. If you haven't had an A1C and a C-peptide check, you need to get those checked. It sounds like that you were or are pre-diabetic, and you maybe didn't know that. Maybe your doctor didn't test for that and didn't know that. But I would get those labs checked, and that way you know where you're at right now, so you can recheck again in 3 months or 6 months and then you can see how much you've improved. But ultimately, those postprandial numbers or numbers after you eat, they won't go that high. But during this part of your journey, that may be where you need to be right now.
Anita says, my nutrition counselor.
Oh, this ought to be good.
You're going to have to read that. I don't know.
Okay, this one?
Yeah.
My nutrition counselor takes
treatment
of Bartonella babesia is biocidin, LSF, and grapefruit seed, but must have BMs. Yeah, that all sounds like a lot of foolishness. That sounds woo-woo to me. If you have Bartonella or babesia, you need some antibiotics, okay? I would probably go to a real MD or DO, and first of all, let them diagnose you. Do you have those things or not? And if they say you do, then they will give you the actual treatment for those conditions. But grapefruit seed extract is not a treatment for either one of those.
Miss Barbara says, I have a friend with CML. I've heard that cancer patients should eat low carb, low protein, and low fat. Is this true?
So they're supposed to starve to death?
Right. I've also heard that intermittent fasting is the way to go for cancer patients.
Intermittent fasting can play a role, but as a doctor, you always worry because with chemo and radiation, many times patients that don't have much of an appetite and they wind up losing a lot of weight. So you got to always worry about that with intermittent fasting. But intermittent fasting can play a role as long as you're working with a doctor. But you can't eat low carb, low fat, low protein. That means that you're not eating enough food because there's only 3 macronutrients to choose from. Your friend needs to be eating high fat, high protein, very, very low carb. Cancers love sugar. This is just known. This is not up for debate. Cancer grows faster and metastasizes faster in a high sugar environment. That's why we feed them sugar in the lab to help them grow so we can study them.
Fruit juice. Welcome back, fruit juice.
And avoid fruit juice for your friend as well.
Hey, Ken, how's it like being against the grain in medicine? How do you deal with being called a quack? And do you have advice for aspiring keto carnivore MDs? Also, I fixed my nut allergy since last time.
Excellent. Hey, yeah, I mean, at least once a week I get called a quack on Twitter. And
only once a week?
Me and Dr. Gary Fettke and Professor Tim Noakes, we've started calling ourselves the Quack Attack Team. We're like, yeah, call me a quack. I could care less, because we're over here busy helping people reclaim their health. And if you're over there calling me a quack, then you're not really doing anything very productive, are you? If that's the best you got, if that's the biggest bullet you got for your gun, I'm not really concerned with what you have to say. So I just let it roll off my back. I don't sweat it. Some people get very offended by it. I used to try to get offended back in the very beginning, but now usually if somebody calls me a quack on Twitter, I'll actually heart their comments.
Okay,
like, I don't care.
Answer the important part.
What was the other part?
Do you have any advice for aspiring keto carnivore MDs?
Yeah. So now, if by aspiring you mean you're in med school or undergraduate, then you got to put your nose down. You got to study hard, and you got to answer the questions the way they want them to be answered, so you can get through school. You don't need to be arguing with your professors. They really, really hate that, especially in the clinical rotations. They will crucify you if you show them up, make them look bad, dispute them, contradict them. Don't do that. When you get out, get through your residency, and then you are a doctor, you're a practicing doctor, then you get to do what you think is right for each and every one of your patients. But while you're training, you have input, and you have very little output. You don't tell them your low carb opinion, or you could very well be ostracized before you're finished with your training.
Gore says, can I have fresh jalapenos on keto carnivore, and do jalapenos have any benefits other than being painfully delicious?
I'm sure they have a small amount of vitamins and minerals. There's no doubt about that. They may have some magical phytochemicals, phytonutrients in them. They are painfully delicious. Just count the carbs and eat them up.
All right. Carnivore. Oh, Rich says carnivore since September, weight loss 55 pounds.
Yes.
But more importantly, A1C from 6.1 to 5.3, and blood pressure medicine is cut in half.
Cut in half. I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. That's what we're talking about. Anybody else have a story like that? Put it in the comments, because I promise you there's hundreds of people watching this live who are like, I want to try keto, but I don't know. I got high blood pressure. I got high cholesterol. I got a bad gallbladder. I don't have a thyroid. I've had gastric bypass. I'm afraid I can't do it. But when they see your story in the comments, just like that beautiful comment, you're basically going to give them the liberty to take that first step to reclaim their health. So share your stories, guys. I freaking love those stories. Yes. Sorry, that's freaking awesome. I love it.
Oh, my goodness. Donald wants to know, how do you get enough potassium on carnivore?
Well, I probably get enough potassium just from the meat that I eat, but I do use the Daily Minerals from Keto Chow, which has potassium, magnesium. It has all the electrolytes, but it also has all the other minerals as well. You see, back in the day, long time ago, 50,000 years ago, right, we drank river water, and we drank mud puddle water, and probably even drank some ocean water. All those things are rich in minerals and rich in electrolytes. But we don't drink that kind of water anymore. We drink water out of the tap or out of a bottle that doesn't have the minerals and electrolytes. And that's why I think it's necessary to be mindful of your electrolytes and to be mindful of your minerals, because we're not drinking that mineral-rich water like we used to drink.
All right, last question for the night. 397 Coney.
All right.
I recently had a colonoscopy and was diagnosed with diverticulitis, but I have no symptoms. Should I stay on keto? Do you have any recommendations?
100% stay on keto or ketovore or carnivore. I've actually got a YouTube video about diverticulitis and what causes it. It's not usually the things that the gastroenterologist told you. It has nothing to do with red meat. It has nothing to do with nuts and seeds. All those things are a myth. Okay, so watch that YouTube video about diverticulitis, and that's going to explain to you, and the research is in the show notes if your doctor has any questions.
That's it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Head over to my channel if you want to see what we eat in a day.
Yeah. She's posting videos of my steak and of my lamb and of my eggs every day.
Not every day. No, not every day.
You're filming me every day.
Anyways, hit it on Dr. Berry's, hit it on mine. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all the things. We're everywhere.
Yes. And thank you so much to our Facebook supporters. And thank you very, very much to our patrons on patreon.com. You guys are our people and our family and our tribe. And we love you, and we
mean it.
We mean it.
And we'll see you next week.
Same time, same station.
We don't know where we'll be.
Yeah. We'll be somewhere.
Location, but we will be on YouTube and Facebook. So we will see you here next week, Monday, 7 Central Standard Time. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you there.
See you then.
Bye.